fresh out the oven.
What is cracking, everybody? It's MegapiemanPHD here, and welcome to another look at my map video, this time for Past Gridiron A31. 31 versions of this pastime map. Freaking 31. And we're still going strong. Quite a few changes to talk about this time. First thing I'm going to talk about is this truck here. Now, previously, the semi-truck and trailer, it was a full-on trailer with the whole back and whatnot. But people were building sentries on top of it, and the sentries up there were completely locking down the goals, which was a huge pain in the butt. So I got rid of the top of the trailer to make a flatbed, and then I added on these steel beams here from the construction pack that are by Ravage, I believe. Unfortunately, there's not really credits for the construction pack. I asked Void, who also worked on the construction pack. I've talked about them previously. They helped with Farmageddon, our PD Farmageddon, a map that I made a while back. And they took a look at their list and told me that Ravage is the one who made these steel beams for the construction pack. The construction pack, of course, being the main pack for CP Vanguard, which is in the game. So, they fit the Foundry theme. I mean, they're steel beams, so I put them on the back of this truck, so it's not just a flatbed, and it gives a bit of a reason as to why you can't build sentries on it, because you don't have a flat surface with enough space to build on it. You also can't build on the cab, so this whole thing has become no build as of anymore, which should stop people from just blocking everything off with sentries. I don't know why sentries on top of this thing were such a problem. There are so many ways to outrange them and deal with them, but they have been, so they shouldn't be now. I also added this block here for a little bit more cover, since the truck now only acts as cover, which is the whole reason why it's there in the first place. And I put a little bit of a ramp here to help people get some height for chucking into the throw-in goal. Now, the run-in goal has changed a little bit in the fact that it hasn't changed at all, but the things around it have changed, which is that I put the defender's spawn room behind the run-in goal. Previously, it was over here, which was a bit of a problem. Now, the bonus goal is up there. It's in that water tower. This shutter opens right there, and that's a bonus goal. And the way you get to that is by using this, which is a jump pad that sends you careening through the air close enough to that and then into this water right here so you don't break your legs. The problem was when defenders were spawning here, pretty much everybody would go straight to here and then shoot themselves over to here, which is a problem because this path is what attackers generally use in order to get over here to where the goals are. So by cutting all of this walking time out and going straight from there over to here, they were able to really build up a defense over here that attackers had a heck of a time trying to deal with. They also came into the problem where, because the defend-in goal was here, they could defend this, and because people used this a lot, they could defend that really well, which blocked off attackers from being able to get the bonus goal. Even though I put this route in over here, they can use to go through this building. They were still having trouble, so I moved it back over to behind the run-in goal. And I also split it in half. So instead of having one door, you have two doors, which should mean that not everybody goes to the exact same place all the time, which would split up red team or blue team defenders, just whoever's defending, blue or red, doesn't matter. It would split up defenders and make it a little bit easier for attackers to get in to the goals. Plus, if somebody on the defenders are down here, they do have the height disadvantage coming out of this door compared to people who are going at the goals, which hopefully should make it easier to score. Now, it doesn't look like it would be easier to score because it looks like the spawn room is closer to the run-in goal and the throw-in goal, and it kind of is, but it's actually not when you really think about it. All of the space is really because you spawn back here. You have to walk through the spawn room, decide which door you're going to go to. This door leads to a disadvantage. This door leads you to the advantage, but you're farther away from the throw-in goal. and the routes that attackers usually use. So it sort of evens out. And I think that will help quite a bit for people to actually get goals, which is what you want for pastime. And now to try to help that even more, I've cut the time limit. Originally, the time limit for pastime maps is 15 minutes. Previously, I cut it to 10 minutes, and now I've cut it to 7 minutes. And the reason why I did that is twofold. Number one, because you have less time should mean that teams play a bit more aggressively to try to get points before the timer runs out. And number two is because of this. Now you see this door here, in fire over time door open, right there. That is a fourth throw-in goal. So when overtime happens by time running out on the map, if nobody's winning by that point, if it's a tie, or if the goals are close enough that if somebody scores a bonus goal, they could possibly win, this door opens. And it changes the throw-in goal from back there. That one back there becomes deactive, and this one up here becomes active. And that makes it so you have to go half the distance in order to score a goal. Same thing happens over here on red side, which makes being in overtime and the fact that usually whoever scores in overtime ends up winning. I think you can lose even if you score in overtime. I'm not entirely sure how all the pastime rules work. It's kind of confusing. But if you're in overtime and you're down by 2 and only score 1, you still lose even though you scored. But if you're in overtime, down by 2, score the bonus goal for 3, you win. And that's how it calculates if you should go into overtime or not. It's confusing. I'm not sure how it all works. But anyway, that should stop ties and stalemates from happening. Go to 0, go into overtime. All you gotta do is score here in order to win. Or you can, one team can, or if nobody gets the ball within, I think I cut it from 5 to 3 seconds, then overtime ends and it's stalemates. Originally it's 5 seconds. If nobody touches the ball for 5 seconds in overtime, overtime ends, and that's the end of the round. I believe I cut it from 5 to 3, so hopefully this will make it that games end by one team scoring a point and stops stalemates from happening quite as much. That's the idea. I also put a speed pad over here. I'm not sure if I put this over here previously or not. I don't remember. But this is mainly just to try to help people getting to the goals. It is, of course, a speed power-up. For some reason, they use these a lot in pastime. Mostly for defender spawns in order to help defending teams get to the ball a bit quicker, because defender spawns are usually farther back. But I put this here instead of helping defenders. It can help defenders, of course. It'll mostly help attackers. So if you're going through this way, you can go up here, get this, go this way, and boom, score that way. Some of these lights are all messed up and whatnot. That needs worked on. But yeah, it should work that way to try and help get more scores happening. You want people to score in pastime. You don't want pastime to go down to the clock ending and then that's it. You want people to score, because that's where the fun is. Next main thing that changed. Over here, all of this junk. Rerouted this entire area to try and help attackers more. And even did that by putting this here. So, attackers pretty much always go to this door because it is the closest to the attacker spawn, the forward spawn, so they pretty much always go to that door, or they go down here to this door. Rarely will they go from there over to this door, which was a problem. Previously, if you went through this door, you would get up here. But because that only works for going all the way over to here, it makes it so that attackers didn't really use this upper area as much as I wanted them to for what I wanted them to use it for, which was for clearing out sentries in mid, which meant that sentries in mid were very powerful. By changing the door that you go through in order to get over there to this path, which is the shortest and the one that gets the most traffic from the forward spawn, should make it so that people use this a lot more often and are able to get the high ground on sentries at mid. They also get high ground over here now to deal with sentries at mid and just the high ground advantage overall. Plus, it should be a little bit easier and quicker to get to these doors than it used to be, because previously there was like a train car here that you had to either go around or go up and over. I like this bit of detail, this big pile of coal here to block things off, so I wanted to keep the coal, but I got rid of the train car and made this a little bit streamlined in order to block sidelines. Which is why all these props are here, blocking sidelines, as well as giving the advantage and opening up areas, which should hopefully help attackers get into mid and then get out of mid. A big problem this map has had for a while, and that I've seen on quite a few pastime maps, is actually getting the jack or the ball through mid. A lot of the time, it just everybody just fights in here. So hopefully this helps that not be a thing as much. All of this high ground helps them push their way through. Did have to put a big fence blocker thing here so that you can't see from here all the way over here, because that's really bad. That is a massive sightline, and that had to be fixed because that would be terrible. And we don't like terrible things. So that's why that is there. Had to move around a little bit of geometry to make everything fit in here. Anything else change? I changed defender respawn times so that defenders now have a longer respawn time, whereas attackers have a shorter one. Previously, and in most pastime maps, defenders get a shorter respawn time. That's what I'm going to say. They had a shorter respawn time, and attackers get a longer respawn time in order to help the defenders defend. Well, the problem that you get with that is you get it so that nobody can score, because defenders get an advantage when they're defending. Attackers have to go walk all the way across the map, whereas defenders don't. They just come out of the defender spawn, which is usually near the goals, and it's just a pain to try to score by flipping it so that attackers who have to walk the most get a short respawn time, and defenders who have to walk the least get a high respawn time. Generally how it's done for almost every other game mode where you have a last, such as attack, defend, payload, so on and so forth. This should make it that scores happen more often, which is what you want. The thing that you want is you want scores to happen as often as possible so things don't go to overtime, because going to overtime means you run out the clock. And if you're playing stock pastime, that clock is 15 minutes, and that can be pretty dull, the 15 minutes of nobody scoring. At least now, with Gridiron, you only have 7 minutes possible of nobody scoring before you go into overtime, and then overtime can last forever. Overtime doesn't end until somebody scores or the ball resets, and I have seen with this map in testing that can last an excruciatingly long time, which is why I did the forward bonus goal. Somebody gave me the idea, after I made the forward goal, that I could have it set to, in overtime, set all respawns to 10 seconds, which would mean, with the way that respawn waves work in TF2, that the minimum respawn wave would be 10 seconds, with the maximum respawn wave would be double that, which would be 20 seconds, and nobody likes sitting around for 20 seconds. You know, nobody likes sitting around waiting to respawn and all that time. It makes sense for overtime to do that, because that means that more people, if people die, it means more, since they'll be sitting and waiting to respawn longer, which should, in theory, lead to more goals. But for now, I'm working with this forward throw-in goal idea, disabling the back throw-in goal. How do I want to say this? Yeah, disabling the back throw-in goal, the original throw-in goal that's open during the main game, and then enabling this smaller one. It is a smaller ring to throw into, which makes it a little bit harder than the normal throw-in goal, but it's closer, so that should make it easier overall, and it's a bit more difficult to defend, especially for defenders. Since they have farther they need to walk in order to get to it. But there you have it. That is the 31st version of, well, actually, possibly the 32nd version, because the original version of this map I made for the micro contest. I called something different to fit the micro contest. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I digress. That is it for the 31st version of Pass Gridiron. I think I'm finally getting to a point where this map is pretty much dialed in and getting ready to detail it, which is good, because currently it is the 25th, and the contest, the Rule of 3 contest that this is for, ends August 18th or 15th? 18th, I think 18th, but I also want to say 15th, I don't know. Anyway, it's coming up, so I gotta get this map at least into detail phase for beta, so that it'll be in some sort of shape in order to be entered into the Rule of 3 contest from TF2 map that it's being made for. Of course, the theme is Foundry theme, so I'll be taking a look at CP Foundry, as well as King of the Hill Forge, which is a custom map, and CP Alloy, which is a custom map, because those two custom maps use the Foundry theme really well. And of course, Foundry uses the Foundry theme because it is the map that made the Foundry theme, because it's called Foundry. I might take a look at Metalworks as well. Metalworks sort of has a Foundry theme, but was made before Foundry was released as a custom map, so the people who made it didn't really have all the Foundry stuff to use to make it look like a Foundry. So it's called Metalworks, even though it doesn't use the Foundry theme. It's a little bit confusing, but we'll figure that out later on down the road. Thank you very much for watching. I'm MegapieMan. You can check out my main channel over on youtube.com/MegapiemanPHD. I recently did a video on the Space Jam game from 1996. Space Jam 2 came out recently. Decided that I would try to capitalize on that by doing the old Space Jam game that I used to play quite a bit as a kid. Had the PS1 version back then, but the version that we looked at on the main channel is the MS-DOS version. If you're interested in that, you can click on a video link at the end of this video. It'll be around somewhere. There'll be a card to the main channel that'll pop up on screen, which is youtube.com. Yeah, youtube.com. Wow, I just said it wrong, like I did on purpose. youtube.com/MegapiemanPHD over there. Check that out. Let me know what you think. I'm a MegapieMan, and I'll talk to you guys later.